Hi, my name's Kara, and today I'm going to be talking to you about domestic abuse. Domestic abuse or violence is a confrontation between family and household members involving physical harm, sexual assault, or the fear of physical harm. The batterer uses acts of violence and a series of behaviors, including intimidation, threats, psychological abuse, and isolation, to coerce and control the person that they are abusing. The violence may not happen often, but it may remain hidden and a constant terrorizing factor for the person that is being abused. Domestic violence is not only physical and sexual violence, but it can also be very psychological. Anyone can be a victim of domestic violence. Domestic violence occurs in both genders, every culture, country, and age group. It affects people from all socioeconomic, educational, and religious backgrounds. I am going to be focusing mainly on women and children because women age 14 to 30 are at highest risk for experiencing domestic violence. So that's what I'm going to focus on. On average, more than 3 women a day are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends in the United States. Nearly 1 in 4 women in the United States reports experiencing violence by a current or former spouse or boyfriend at some point in her life. Women aged 20 to 24 are at greatest risk for experiencing non-fatal intimate partner violence. 15.5 million children in the United States live in families in which partner violence has occurred at least once in the past year. 7 million children live in families in which severe partner violence has occurred. In a single day in 2008, 16,458 children were living in domestic violence shelters or in a transitional housing facility. Another 6,430 children sought services at non-residential programs, such as counseling and that sort of thing. 1 woman is beaten by her husband or partner every 15 seconds in the United States. That is an outrageous number. Boys who witness domestic violence are twice as likely to abuse their own partners and children when they become adults. The cost of intimate partner violence exceeds $5.8 billion each year. $4.1 billion of that is used for immediate medical and mental health services. One statistic that I found that was extra sad to me was that 1 in 10 calls made to alert the police about domestic violence is placed by a child that lives in the home. So they were scared enough from what they were seeing and hearing that they themselves, as a little child, decided to call the police. And then 1 in every 3 abused children becomes an adult abuser or a victim. So we're just setting our children up for failure. We need to find a way to stop this and have more awareness so that it doesn't continue, because this is something that will just get worse and spread from generation to generation. The visual aid that I chose to use is a pamphlet that is available for Kansas specifically, and it is the Kansas Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence. It is a safety plan for people that are experiencing domestic violence. And it has in it things that can help you during a crisis situation. So it has things like how to stay safe during an explosive incident, how to stay safe when you are preparing to leave your abuser, how to stay safe in your own home if you feel that that person is going to try to attack you in your home. And then it also has in here a list of everything you should take with you when you do, if you do, choose to leave your abuser. Because usually those are really highly emotional, scary times for people, so they may not be thinking clearly. They may not be thinking, oh, I need to bring this, this, and this. They may leave behind important documents like birth certificates and keys, medications, certain things like that they are going to need. So this kind of gives them a step-by-step on like, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to prepare, so that you have something to look at when you are in that stressful situation. And then it also gives you plans on how to like stay safe at your job, because sometimes abusers will attack at work, psychological, over the phone, call you and tell you they're going to come hurt you or something like that. And then it also has on here the Kansas Crisis Hotline, but it breaks down as well and gives numbers for different cities here in Kansas that have different programs to help get you out immediately. And there's, I mean, I know you can't see it very well, but there's a whole list of several different places you can go. So I think that's pretty great. An emergency situation, help you think a little clearer. And then types of domestic violence, there are several. They can be physical, emotional, psychological, financial, or sexual. Physical abuse is usually the most recognizable form of domestic violence because it uses force against the victim and it usually causes injury. Emotional abuse involves the destruction of the victim's self-worth, and it's brought out by like intimidation, humiliation, criticism. Emotional abuse is another type of domestic violence, and it can be hard for people to understand because a lot of times we see it in unhealthy relationships. Psychological abuse is kind of a catch-all term that is used for intimidating, threatening, or fear-causing behavior. And it kind of covers a wide variety of areas. And then other types of domestic violence are financial abuse, in which the victim is not allowed to have a job, or if they do, the abuser takes all the money, doesn't allow the person to have access to funds for basic needs, that kind of thing. And then sexual abuse is another common form of domestic abuse, and that is sexual assault, rape, harassment, and unwelcome touching and other demeaning behaviors. Warning signs that abuse may be occurring include for physical, hair pulling, biting, shaking, pushing, pinching, choking, kicking, confinement, slapping, hitting, punching, using weapons, depriving someone of food, bruising, broken bones, and the victim may make up excuses on like why their abuser did that to them, but there is never an excuse for that, ever. Emotional is insulting the victim in public or private, putting them down, making them feel bad about themselves, name-calling, mind games, humiliation, basically treating them really badly. Psychological is making the victim afraid by using looks, gestures, or actions, throwing or smashing things, destroying property, abusing pets, dangerous driving, displaying weapons, or the victim voicing like that they're afraid of the abuser. That could be a huge sign. Financial is them, again, not being able to have a job, not having access to money for basic human needs, that sort of thing. Sexual is forced intercourse, unwanted touching, and some signs of that like might be sexual promiscuity, or the victim avoiding the abuser, being depressed, having anxiety, and using inappropriate coping mechanisms. And how to get help for yourself or a victim of domestic violence. There are several resources available. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, you should really call 911 and seek a medical attention so that injuries can be addressed and documented. And then there's a national domestic hotline. It's 1-800-799-SAFE. And then there's a Kansas crisis hotline. That's 1-888-END-ABUSE. And then here in Colby, you can call Options. The Options offers 24-hour crisis intervention where trained people are available 24/7. One-on-one counseling is also provided, and they can help you get somewhere safe, get into a program where you will have safe shelter, and help you get back on your feet if you choose to leave your abuser. The benefits of this teaching would be that awareness of domestic abuse grows, and victims and those that know victims are informed of the types of abuse and resources that they can use to end that abuse. And then I would measure the effectiveness by having a group explain to me what I just told them and tell me that they know what options are available. Thank you.